Hello, Aries, and welcome to your monthly reading. So this is for the month of June 2023, and this is for Aries, Sun or Rising. It's a collective reading, so we're definitely gonna keep shuffling. It's a collective reading for Sun or Rising Aries. So this month I was traveling for the last part of the month and just haven't had time to really properly look over maybe some of the transits that I would want to mention for this first part of June or in through June. So I will have a short, small video up about that sometime in the first day or two, I think, of June. I just need to do that separately and kind of catch up with all the filming. So as per usual, we're going to take a look at how we can center the themes, because it is a collective reading, like where your attention is being drawn for this particular month. Again, like I'm so tempted to want to try and go into talking about some of the stuff that I know is going on for June, but I just want to be more thorough. And since I'm adding in more astrology. So as we have before, we're taking a look at the progression of the month. So the beginning, I feel like that's the middle, and right there, and the end of the month. Okay. All right, Aries. And then let's also take a look at, I feel like I want a different deck for this part. Yes, we're going to go with this one. So we're going to take a look at what spiritual advice is coming through, and I feel like this card here, I'm sorry, what challenges are coming through, and then what spiritual advice is also coming through to help you navigate not only the challenge but the rest of the month. Felt like there was like maybe one more in there. No, we're gonna go with this. If we want to pull another one, then we will. I say we, like I think I just like to tap into the energy, and I'm just like, yeah, you're along for the ride with me, right? So okay. Sorry about that, you guys. I had a call come through. It's only family members that can get through a do not disturb for me on my phone, so I'm sure you can understand. So let's take a look at how we're going to focus this reading and what's the main theme that's coming up for Aries during June 2023. So we have the midheaven, right? And the midheaven, whether you know a lot about astrology or not, just in short, it's really just about our kind of like shows our purpose, our path, our career. So I feel like that's very much, and it's also one of the it's like the highest point in the chart, meaning like kind of think about high noon, right? Like midday. So it's very public. It's very bright and out there. So I have a feeling for some of you, whether you're dealing with career, some of you might be dealing with reputation specifically, and maybe it has nothing to do with career. So I just want to mention that in case this isn't feeling like a career focused kind of reading for you. So let's just put that to the side for the moment and see how this is all unfolding. Also, I want to say, like, as I've said before in previous readings, if this particular reading feels like, it hit last month, it's not really hitting this month and doesn't feel resonant, and you're watching for your sun sign, go ahead and watch your rising sign, because maybe like it's more based on your rising sign this time around. And of course, like if you want specifics for you, one-to-one readings are the best. So let's take a look at the beginning, middle, and end of the month. So we start out the month, I'm really liking how we're starting out the month, especially with regard to looking at the midheaven as the focus. So we have the Ace of Swords, and the Ace of Swords just has this, I feel like this powerful clarity, right? It's piercing through the crown. Think about the crown chakra, if you relate to like looking at energy centers that way, piercing through above, like to be in alignment, to get clarity. Given that we've just come out of all of the changing of big pieces on the chessboard astrologically last month in May, with like the retrograde, with the eclipse and the ending of eclipse season, like all the T-squares, right? Like all the different things that were coming up. I feel like this is a really bright start to the beginning of this month. And, I'll have actually videos out for the full moon, which is only happening within the first few days of the month as well. So like, I feel like this is interesting that we're starting out with like, okay, boom, there's some clarity for you. I feel like you're going to get some messages perhaps as well. But the way that I tend to look at the Ace of Swords too is like, it doesn't always come through, but it feels like it's coming through in this particular scenario. It's like there's some kind of assist that you're getting from the universe in terms of getting the kind of clarity that you need with regard to what we were talking about, right? This could be about, again, your career, your work, your public life in that way, or like your reputation, right? The way that you're perceived in this world. So just taking a look at that, how that's connected. Then we come to the middle of the month and we have the Seven of Cups, right? So Seven of Cups, you know, like you got to pick a path. Got to pick a path. You got, you know, like there are all of these opportunities or dreams or visions or fantasies that you have. Got to make sure that you're not getting lost in the fantasy world, getting lost in a state of like confusion around how many different things there are to pursue, like what it is that you want to be focused on, right? Whether that's, it could be a bunch of different things, right? It could be on your finances, it could be on success, it could be on your spiritual life, it could be about your health and beauty, it could be about a lot of different things, your home life, whatever it is. And it's like, just kind of really having the message come through like, hey, don't get lost in that world of fantasy. Don't get lost in the world of delusion. You know, when we have visions that come through, we're meant to have those come through so that they can help us move towards our dreams, not get lost in the dream itself, right? So you just don't want to stay in fantasy land forever. You got to start to put things into motion. And in order to do that, you got to make a choice, right? So then we come to the end of the month, right? The last third of the month, and we round that out with the Five of Swords. I find it really interesting because of the challenge card, and I'll come back to this, but the challenge card being the Three of Swords, right? So I feel like there's some disappointment that is occurring, and maybe it's a business partnership, maybe it's with in relation to people who are involved in this aspect of your life. But the Five of Swords is a conflict card, right? And out of the conflict cards, I feel like it's one of the harsher ones. It's where you got to really watch your words. You know, words can cut deep. And there is winning and going and moving forward, and then there's bulldozing and winning at any cost, right? And also what's interesting too is like, so for instance, this card can also represent the other, like you being the person who walks away having lost this, whatever it is. Let's say it's a legal battle, right? As an example. And I find it interesting that you have as a challenge a disappointment that's coming through. So it's hard for me to say without really, again, like, because it's not a one-to-one reading looking at like, okay, well, is this, well, let's see. Let's pull another card. I really want to know. Like, does this have to do with you being on the end of like loss, or are you the one who needs to watch yourself to make sure that you're not pushing too hard and you're not winning at any cost? So I feel like there's a burden. And like, honestly, I can see this still going either way. Let's move this over so that you can see it, which is like, again, it's just so interesting doing readings for collective. Like, I like doing them. It's just that sometimes I get, you know, like I want more specifics. So I'm going to say that for some of you, this is definitely a disappointment, like a loss, and feeling like you're walking away from a situation and feeling like you lost more than what you should have or what was fair. And like something was, you know, taken, you know, and feeling disappointed by that, or feeling like it didn't go the way that you thought was fair or that would have worked out well. And that it's been a burden on you, whatever this is. Maybe it's a contract, maybe it's something that during the retrograde, it made itself apparent and like now it's not really working out. On the other hand, on the flip side, I'm still gonna read this for some of you as like, you need to watch your words and watch like how you are approaching your success and you're moving upwards in the world, right? Like, the midheaven is about that ascending to like this higher place in our career, to the pinnacle. Oh, right. It even says pinnacle here. I did not even notice that till right now. Right. So this is definitely something that I would say, you know, if there's too much, like the weight is too much of the world is like too much on your shoulders, you're wanting to offload some of it, or you're wanting to like, you know, relieve some of that pressure. you want to watch yourself and make sure that you're not going to regret the way in which you went about achieving that. Because I think in the process, you may lose connections, you may lose like burn bridges, you may feel like there is a loss of some kind that you experience in the process, and it may not feel worth it. That's the other thing about the Five of Swords, is like on the other side of it, it's like, well, was that worth it to win at any cost? So I'm reading that both ways. I was hoping for a little bit more clarity with that, but I don't want to spend too much time on it because we could like dive down a rabbit hole with that. So I'm going to read that both ways. I'm just getting the sense that I need to read that both ways, right? So take that as it applies. I feel like you will know which side of this you're on. So the spiritual advice that's coming through is the Moon card. And I just feel like, oh, there we go. You can see it a little bit better there. It's kind of. The spiritual advice that's coming through is the Moon card, right? And I think that you're being told that there are some things like to address, some things that had maybe come to light during this last month when we had the eclipses, some things that need to be integrated, some things that were kind of like peeked their head out from the shadows. You can't forget about that. You can't forget about integrating those things. And you can't be afraid of like facing any kinds of fears that you have with regard to like moving up and forward and like really building, like, let's say it's your business, or, you know, moving to that next level in your career, or whatever it is that this has to do with, right? And so you want to make sure that you're really looking to integrate. Now, this is inner work, and not everyone likes getting the advice of like, it's the inner work that you need to do so that the outer work can flourish, right? Not everyone likes to hear that. And sometimes that's just it be that way, you know? It's just like that. And that's the way it is. So, you know, so there's that. There is this just kind of integration of the shadows, not being afraid to face whatever concerns or fears or, you know, things you've kind of like swept under the rug, like deal with them. Don't hide from them or run from them and try to sweep them away. Like deal with those things and face them. Also, it's a very watery card, you know, the Moon is, and can have to do with like these really deep emotional experiences and like very sensitive places within ourselves. And so I feel like this is all related for like how to deal with this. It's so interesting because we start out the beginning of the month with like this beautiful clarity, and then it's like there's some confusion or needing to make a choice. And it's in the way that you handle it that determines the kind of challenge that you have, like how this challenge shows up, right? Like everyone sees the Three of Swords and they go, oh my God, oh no, breakups, heartache. And it's like, yeah, sometimes it can mean that, but sometimes the Three of Swords is really just indicating like loss or grief or disappointment with like something that doesn't have to do with like death or like a breakup, right? And since we are talking about the midheaven and we're talking about that area of life, you know, it could feel like opportunities, like lost opportunity, or feeling like something didn't go according to plan and feeling like really disappointed with that. Maybe, you know, like having a disappointment with a business partner or something like that, and not really feeling like you two are on the same page and needing to break that up and go off on your own, right? So this can show up a lot of different ways. And again, because this is a collective reading, the best we can do here is for me to like give you as much information as possible so that you can hopefully like get from that the message that you need and see exactly where it is that it applies and that it resonates. So, you know, it's deeper work. It's stuff that needs to be faced. It's maybe not the most comfortable in the universe, but you know, I just see like this is what's on deck. I'd say focus on the kind of clarity that you're getting at the beginning, and just watch yourself for like as the month progresses that you don't fall into a place of like delusion or confusion or staying in the world of fantasy or daydreams. Make sure that you're getting the clarity, keeping the clarity that you got, staying as close to that clarity as you can, and just watch yourself with like how you're interacting with other people, how you're going about getting this progress, right? So that's not something that you're going to feel not so great about on the other side, or that you watch yourself when it comes to interacting with other people. Be aware of the people around you and if you notice that things are not being dealt with fairly, maybe take precautions, like maybe plan ahead, maybe prepare and like bolster your, business or your boundaries in some way so that you can lessen the impact of this. And I have a feeling this all has to do with like you taking a look at things that maybe you don't want to look at. That's the thing with the moon. It's like, it's not necessarily comfortable, not necessarily things that we want to look at, but it's like, this is the key, right? Like it's coming through as your spiritual advice to tell you like, hey, this is something worth looking at. This is something that if you do, it will be helpful in dealing with all of this, right? So, like you can definitely go back and take a look at the readings that I did for the last moon readings, but I will also, a couple days from after this comes out, I'll have the next phase of moon readings from the full to new moon. So those will be out, and I will also have the astrology video out. I think I'll probably, because I want to put it together quickly, just do the first half of June and then maybe do the other half of June in a separate video. So if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Not only does it help the channel, but then you don't miss out on any of the upcoming videos as I keep putting out different and more content and building this channel. So thank you for being here. I hope that this was insightful or helpful in some way, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.